Irashaimase. Hello and welcome to Fitaurus Kitchen. I'm your host, Chef Fitaurus, bringing you the Chef's Choice in weekly gaming news. Today for December 21st, 2015. So we're right before Christmas, so before I get started, I want to go and wish everybody a happy holidays. I hope you have a great Christmas. But there is a decent amount of news from last week, so let's get cooking and dive right in. So our first story for today is one that's been going on all year long, as far back as March, and that's the whole Konami Kojima debacle that's been going on, and it's just been a messy year as far as that's concerned. But fortunately, we finally go and have probably the best resolution that we could go and have for it, and that's Kojima is finally free of Konami as of December 15th. So, one of the first things that was announced is that he's gone and formed his own production company, appropriately enough, Kojima Productions, the company, or rather the division that Konami went and dissolved, reborn again, with a lot of former staffers from Konami as well going and coming with Kojima, so that's great. In addition to that, we know that he's going and working on a new title that's going to go and be console exclusive to Sony's PlayStation 4, as he's entered in with an agreement with Sony to go and produce a title for them. But it is also going to go and be releasing on PC, so if you're not necessarily a Sony fan, you'll still go and get the chance to go and play that title. No other information about that one yet, but still, it's great that we finally go and have a positive resolution to this messy news story all year long. So, great for Kojima and Konami. How I miss the Konami of old. Moving on to the next item on our menu, we've got a little bit of information about Smash Brothers from the final Smash Brothers Nintendo Direct. So they're going to be finishing up with all their DLC content, so they went and announced 2 more DLC characters for Smash Brothers. These ones are both really interesting. So the first one is Corrin, the avatar from Fire Emblem Fates, is going to go and be available as a DLC character coming up in Super Smash Bros. In addition to that, Bayonetta from Bayonetta and Bayonetta 2 is also going to go and be available as a DLC character for Smash Bros. Both really interesting choices, and I think they'll go and be some nice dynamic characters to go and add to the whole Smash Bros. Roster. So that goes and definitely brings to a close a great year and, well, overall release of DLC characters for the title. It's been great that Nintendo's been supporting this one the way that they have. So if you're a huge Smash Brothers fan, or, well, even a casual one, I hope you're going and looking forward to these new DLC characters. I'm not sure when they're going to go and be released, though. Moving on to our next item on the menu, we go and have some news from Falcom, the Japanese developer behind the Legend of Heroes and the Ys franchise. Specifically, the news is about those 2 franchises. So from an investors meeting earlier last week, we went and got some updates about some titles that Falcom is going and working on. Specifically, Ys 8, Lacrimosa of Dana was formally announced. This is a title that was actually teased back in Tokyo Game Show 2014, but since then we haven't gone and heard or seen anything about it. So we finally go and have a title for the title, as well as a release window, and that's summer 2016, and it'll be releasing on the PlayStation Vita as well as the PlayStation 4. So this is one that I'm definitely going and looking forward to, as the recent Ys titles have been a lot of fun from an action RPG standpoint. So if you're interested in Ys or action RPGs in general, definitely go and keep an eye on this one. They went also announced The Legend of Heroes Sen no Kiseki 3, or as it's been titled in the North American and Europe territories, Trails of Cold Steel. So Trails of Cold Steel is actually going and releasing this week in North America, and it'll go and be releasing at the end of January for the Europe territories. And the second chapter within that Trails of the Cold Steel will go and be releasing sometime in 2016. So now we go and have an announcement that the third one is in development, but one thing that it did not go, or the press release did not go and note, was what platforms it's going to go and be developed for. I imagine with the way that Falcom has been developing the Legend of Heroes Trails of franchise, it'll probably go and be a Vita and PlayStation 4 release, as everything up to this point with Trails of Cold Steel has been a Vita PlayStation 3 release. So that's definitely something to go and look forward to, especially as we're going and getting the first part in that, well, at this point, trilogy now, this week. So some exciting news to go and stay forward to, or to look forward to for RPG fans. Next up, we have a quick little game announcement from publisher D3. So about a year and a half ago, D3 went and published Bullet Girls, which is a third-person shooter for the PlayStation Vita that's very heavy on fan service and clothing destruction. So this past week, they went and announced the sequel to that title, going and coming out for the Vita in April of next year, 2016. So this is one that I'll be interested in going and seeing how it goes and comes along. It looks like it's going to fleshes out the mechanics of the first game a little bit, so it should be interesting to go and see how that one goes and does. For our next item on the menu, we go and have a lot of news from Bandai Namco Entertainment, both the Japanese side as well as the American side. So let's go ahead and get started with the Japanese announcements. So last week, Bandai Namco went and announced 2 new Gundam titles for the Japanese territories. They went and announced SD Gundam G Generation Genesis, quite the mouthful, for PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, and Vita for 2016. So the SD Gundam series, I believe this one's probably going to go and be a strategy RPG, but I'm not 100% certain on that one. And I don't think we've really gotten much in the way of SD Gundam titles released stateside. I believe there have been a few, but it's been a while since any of them have been released, so don't necessarily count on a localization for this one. And then they also went and announced Gundam Breaker 3, the third in the franchise, where you go and assemble model Gundams, fight against other model Gundams, collect parts, and make these interesting Gundam creations. But once again, that's one that we haven't gotten localized in the West at all, so hopefully we go and have a shot at going and getting this one, but where we haven't gotten the first and the second titles, that one's also suspect. But there is hope. So earlier today, as far as Bandai Namco Entertainment America is concerned, they went and released a ton of localization news, or at least a fair bit, which is all of it very, very exciting. So the first one that I've got is JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Eyes of Heaven, two-player tag team brawler that just went and released in Japan for the PlayStation 4 is going to go and be getting localized for the PlayStation 4 in North America and EU. So this one's kind of exciting, as the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, if nothing else, goes and has a really vibrant and different aesthetic to it, and you know, brawlers are always welcome. Next up, they also went and announced that Tales of Berseria is going to go and be coming to the West. This one isn't... Did I go and say that right? I think so. Anyway, this one's not much of a surprise, as Bandai Namco has been really good about going and supporting the Tales of franchise in the West, but it's still nice to go and have localization confirmation for this title. But it's not even out in Japan yet, so we'll have to go and wait and see on the quality, as, you know, we'd have no idea. Then, in addition to that, there's also God Eater Resurrection and God Eater 2 announced as coming to the West for the Vita and PlayStation 4. So it's great to go and see that they're still going and supporting the Vita, and the Vita is getting some love. God Eater Resurrection is a remastered version of God Eater Burst, which we did go and get in the West, but I haven't had the chance to go and play it. So I'm looking forward to going and checking out God Eater Resurrection when it comes out, and then God Eater 2 afterwards, is, well, you know, it's best to go and play things in order. And then their announcement that I'm most excited about is Mobile Suit Gundam Extreme vs. Force for the Vita. So more Vita love. Definitely awesome. Extreme Gundam Versus is a franchise that we haven't gotten any of the titles of in the West, so for them to actually go and be releasing their Vita title in the West is really, really interesting. As far as the previous Extreme Versus titles, they're actually kind of like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure in that they're 2v2 brawlers, or, well, 2v multiple brawlers, where you usually go and have a team of mobile suits going and fighting against a team of mobile suits, going and drawing upon all the awesome mechs that are available in the Gundam universe. So if you're a Gundam fan, I can't go and recommend enough going and checking out the Gundam Extreme Versus franchise. Both the just Extreme Versus and Extreme Versus Full Burst for the PlayStation 3. But it's great that we're actually going and getting Extreme Versus Force for the Vita, and I'm definitely planning on going and picking up this title. I was thinking of localizing the Asia version since it was going to go and have English subtitles on it, but at this point I'll go and wait for the official English localization to go and hit the West. Moving on to our last item on the menu for this week, Noby Boy's girl has completed her journey. So I went and reported about Noby Boy about a month or so ago, with girl going to having reached Pluto. And apparently from the interest in that, in addition to some healthy multipliers, Noby girl has been able to go and complete her journey throughout the solar system, going and returning to Earth. So congratulations to Noby girl, and it's great that the Noby Boy game has managed to go and come full circle and go and complete what it set out to go and do. That's awesome for that title to be able to go and do that 6 years later. It's, definitely a quirky one, but the continued support of the title has been awesome to go and see. Anyway, that'll go and wrap it up for this week's weekly gaming news. Thank you so much for going and coming out and joining me. As always, if you go and have news stories you think I should go and report about, please leave those in the comments below. I'd love to go and hear from you if you have any other comments about the show as well. Once again, I want to go and say happy holidays to everybody. I wish you a Merry Christmas, and we'll see you again next week.